Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make this beaded herringbone macrame bracelet, and this is the effect that you can get. So using some seed beads there, I've just used 3 different colours to give a pattern to it and repeat that pattern throughout. You can obviously combine the beads however you want to, but then this is the look that you can achieve. So if you want to learn how to make this, then stay tuned. So what we'll need to make this is some cord and some seed beads here. Now the cord that I'm working with is a 0.9mm Eslon, and I've just used a black colour because I thought it would be a nice background colour for the colours of beads that I've got here. So these are 8/0 seed beads, and I'm just working with 3 different colours. You can choose however many different colours or few that you want to work with, because we're adding them in as we go. I just thought these 3 would give a nice effect alternating between each colour. So that's what we're going to be working with, and also you can use different materials. So you can change up, say, the size of the beads, maybe make them smaller or that. But personally, I wouldn't go higher than 8/0s in size. And also you just got to make sure that the hole in the beads are big enough to take whatever cord that you're using. So let's get the materials together and let's get started. The length of cords that we're going to need then is, first off, we need a length of about 45 centimeters is this one. This is going to be the holding cord, and really you just want this to be long enough to go around your wrist and a little bit extra to be able to make whatever clasp you want. And then we'll also need 3 lengths of our working cords, and I've made these about 1 meter each. I've then taken my holding cord here and attached it to my macrame board, and then we need to work with 1 working cord at a time. So I take my first one here. I want to put both ends together to find roughly the middle. So that's up here, keep hold of that, and then we need to attach each one at a time onto our holding cord there that's already attached to the board. So I just take one end, place it underneath the holding cord, pull it through until the middle there is right underneath that holding cord, and just try and keep it there best possible until we get it attached. So then lie one side of your working cord over the holding cord, take the other side, go over that, and then underneath everything in the middle and up through the loop. And then I just like to keep my finger on there about the midpoint just so it stays in place while we're tightening this first knot. So that's 1/2 of our square knot that we're making here to attach the cord. I take the opposite side then, put that over the holding cord, take the other side over that, underneath everything in the middle and up through the loop, and attach that. So now this is attached, and we're using square knots for this. If you're not too familiar with macrame knots, I do have a tutorial that shows how to do basic knots that might be helpful. But you then want to attach the rest of these cords in the same way. Once you've then attached all your cords there, what we're going to do is just make a little section before we start adding in the beads as well, just for the back of the hand there, the wrist. It's going to be a bit more comfortable. So I'm going to go to my very top one, so the very first cord that I attached, and bring them down over the others there, and then use these working cords to make another square knot just underneath here, so just in the exact same way. And then you tightening that knot is going to end up lying right below all the others and kind of almost caging those knots in with the cords coming around them. So 1 full square knot like that, and then again we go back to the top ones. Now we have some new ones at the top. We take them, bring them over the others and just down, and they're going to be the new working cords. Do another square knot here underneath these and tighten that. And then again, that's twice now, so we used 2 of our cords that we attached originally. I want to make sure to just use all of them, so I take the next top ones now, bring them down just like the other times. It's just so we've gone through and used all of them here before we then start adding in the beads, because this now gives us that little section of just cord right there. So now what we're going to do is continue basically with the same technique, but we're also going to add our beads into it. So to continue this same technique, go back to the top again, grab the top ones, just bring them down to get them ready, and then the others are just out to the side. So always bring your top cords over the others, pointing out to the side there. So now what we need to do is start adding our beads. So I get my first colour that I choose to work with. These are just the green ones first, and then I want to start adding these onto my cord. So you just want to add enough beads so that when you bring them down, and push them all the way up there. Where the cord is coming out from, they are going to fill the space until when you bring the cord over towards the holding cord there, it's going to fill in enough of that space. So just perfect. So in my case here, I'm going to be using 4 beads to fill in that, and I'm going to be doing that on the other side as well. So add 4 beads on each side there of those 2 cords, and then all you want to do is the same thing. Make a square knot with these 2 with your beads up there, and then as you tighten that, the beads are going to sit on the outside there, whereas previously it would have just been the bare cord. We're just kind of filling in that with beads to give it a completely different look. And that's your first one. So again, put those out to the side, go back to the top. Now once you start adding the beads here, you just need to make sure that you are grabbing the top ones, because the cords are coming out from underneath the beads. So just take the top ones there, separate them out just to check, and bring them down. And again, you want to then add your beads. In my case, I'm going to be using my next colour of beads. So again, I've added on my beads here. The only difference now from before is that for the next cords here that we're doing now, we need to add on 1 extra bead. So the first ones we did 4. In this case, I've now added 5. And then when I push that all the way up, you'll be able to see that because we added that extra, it's going to come down just perfectly, because 4 wouldn't have been enough. Because right at the beginning here, we need to just graduate it a little bit with the amount of beads until we used all the cords and added beads to them. Again, 5 on the other one. Push it all the way up underneath the previous beads to make sure it sits right. You're not going to have any gaps in your cord there in between your beads. And then with this, again, just make a square knot and tighten that so you can see when you do that, your beads are going to sit just perfectly, filling out the gap until they hit the holding cord, just like that. And then as you go, you can always push up your knots a little bit to make them a little bit more close together. Again, put these out to the side. Use the last ones that you haven't used yet to add beads to. Bring them down. In my case here, I'm going to now be using my last colour of beads, so that's going to be the blue ones. So again, it's the same principle with these next ones. I've added my beads, and then I make sure to add 1 more than I did on the previous one, because we're still using a new cord that we haven't added beads to yet. Make sure to push it all the way up. So in this case, I'm adding 6 to each side. And the other one, again, push it all the way up. And then make your square knot just in the exact same way underneath the rest here. Then as we're tightening that, you can tell that's going to sit just nicely and look right, because we added those 1 extra bead each time we did a new cord here. And again, if you want to, you can just push that up a little bit so it sits nice and tight. So there we go, out to the side. And now, because we've used all the cords here and added beads to them once, what we can do now is just go into the regular pattern. So we're just going to continue now adding 6 beads to each length of cord. So as you can see, I'm then adding my beads, and I've just gone back to use my green colour again. That was the first colour that I'm using. And you can obviously do your colour combinations however you want to. But again, I've added 6 onto this now, because we're now going into using cords that have already been used to add beads. And always remember, make sure to always push them all the way up here, so the beads go underneath the previous ones you've done. And then before you tie your square knot, because then you'll be able to see that it fits in just nicely, the amount of beads that we're using here now. So once we start going into using the same cords, you just want to keep using the same amount of beads then here. So keep doing this throughout the bracelet until you reach the length that you want it to be. Once you then kept going and you reach the end here of your bracelet, so the length you want it to be almost, then also what you just need to remember to do is, if you remember the beginning, what I did was start out with less amount of beads than I did throughout. So I started with 4, then went with 5, and then went into 6 that I used throughout the whole bracelet. You want to do the same but in reverse at the end. So once you decide that it's long enough, you want to then graduate down from your last 6 that you used, then you want to use 5, and then you want to use 4 on the very last one, before we then just make the last few knots here. So just remember to do that, so both ends turn out the same, and then we just make a few more knots here. So again, go back to the top cords, make a square knot bring them down over all the rest to just have that same finish on this end as we do on the other end. Tighten that. And the other half. So that's these cords. Remember, we need to go through and use them all. So again, separate out the other two to find the top ones. So that's that one. And then that one for me. So I take the others again out to the side, bring the two top ones now over the rest, and then make a square knot around the holding cord. So this is my second one. We're just going to make sure to make the same amount as the beginning, just to make it nice and even both ends here, and finish it off nicely on both ends as well. Find the top ones again, put the others out to the side, bring them down and over. So that's the exact same technique as I showed you in the beginning, where we didn't have beads on. Just like that, and there we go. When we then made our last few knots just like this, we can take it off the board because it's nice and secure now. The beads aren't going to come undone. The bracelet isn't, because we made all these knots to secure it in place. And then you have this, so we can look at it as well. You'll be able to see that actually both sides aren't exactly the same. There's a slight difference. So on this side that we've been working on, you can tell that we kind of have all this cord, or the knots that we've made, running down through the center. You can see them there. On the other side, if you flip it over, you actually can't see any of that work at all. You can only see the beads creating that herringbone pattern all the way down. It's just at the ends that we can see some of the knot work there. So really what side you want to use is completely up to you. They're both nice, it's just personal preference. So what there's left to do now is finish off the ends here. Now for these, really again you can do it how you want to. You put some glue in there and then cut off the excess of all these working cords, or you can cut them down and singe off the ends. It's completely up to you. Just secure them in place, and then you want to finish off the ends as well. So whether you want to make an adjustable closure, macrame closure, or you want to use cord ends, that's completely up to you. I have a video though where I show how to do either, so that might be helpful. I'm going to put a link to that in the description box below. So you want to finish off the bracelet, and then we can start wearing it. Once you then finished off the ends and done whatever closure or clasp you want it to do, then here you have your finished bracelet. So you get this really nice effect. You can obviously play around with the pattern and the colours and beads as well, so whatever you want to use. That's what it looks like. So a pretty simple technique can make a really funky bracelet. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thank you very much for watching. Hello there everyone. Today I want to show you how to make this braided bracelet, adding beads as well. And this is what it looks like. So this is the effect you get. It's just a regular 3-strand braid, but then we add in beads in the center of it along the way to give you this nice effect and nice pattern to it. And I just finished it off